G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. Today we're going through the forwards and talking about all the locks, the possibles, the probables, who we're passing on. Let's go!
Just done it from nowhere. Hoisting the goal from inside the centre. Sheed from the boundary. Dusty. Petty. Petrarca. Oh, wow. How good is that? The legend becomes immortal.
G'day and welcome to the Ball Boys AFL Fantasy Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Casey, and you can find me on Twitter at Ball Boys Fantasy, joined by Luke. How are you, man?
I'm going good, mate. I'm going good. You haven't changed your shirt since Tuesday.
Neither of you. What's going on?
Yeah, we're not.
We're making a bloody habit of doing these back-to-back podcasts, man.
Last time we recorded back-to-back, Alistair Clarkson was coaching Hawthorn
Yeah,
again,
so not talking about any coaches today, well,
we don't
hopefully.
you don't know what could happen.
Yeah, it's yes. Keep your ears peeled, and if we stuff up, which more than likely, let us know in the comments below. Feed us,
people
guys.
do know that. It's like you make a mistake and just people go.
They're
hard.
jumping on it, and fair enough. It was pretty
accountable.
It was
we
pretty
could say
dumb.
whatever the.
Oh, I dropped a lot.
We could say whatever the fuck we like.
Our podcast. Just put that little E there and it covers it all good. So, anyway, guys.
Back to back. Let's see what happens.
Let's go. We're going to talk about the forwards. Last podcast, we talked about the defenders, just going through basically the most popular players as well as some guys that we are considering for our team, letting you guys know whether or not we are considering them as a possible chance for our side, whether they're likely to be in our side as a probable, or if we're passing on them, even if they're named, basically, is the way we're doing that. But to start off the show, we're going to go through our locks, the guys who, at least in our opinion, well, at least my opinion, I made this list, should be...
It's Mitch's show. I'm
it's all good. I think you agree with most of these guys.
No,
with
I do.
Me.
I'm taking this.
Now, these guys I think should be in every side.
Yep.
Now, we'll talk about this in a second, but whether or not they're actually in your forward line, but all these guys are forward eligible. So, lock number one, most popular player in fantasy, or second most, I think, behind his teammate, Josh Dunkley, 55%. Lock him in.
Should be 100%.
Should we? Yeah, should we? I think of the people taking this game seriously, he will be in 99.5% of teams.
Yep, I think so. He gives you a captaincy option, but
captain option. I think he's underpriced.
Yep, with the new role,
clear number one in his position.
Just locked. We've talked about him enough, haven't we?
TV Taranto, I'm there as well. Lock him in. I think he can easily go, well, not easily, but I think he has the potential to go 110. I think he's separated himself from I think he's in a tier of his own at number two.
He's
for the forwards for me.
The weekend actually made it even more of a lock for me because Richmond, let's be honest,
we got
sucked
done.
ass. And Timmy T just found a way.
Yeah,
he just found.
Doesn't need to be winning.
40 odd at halftime.
Didn't even tackle. Yeah,
no, just kind of ticked over, and I was shook, to be honest. I was like, how has this guy done this in a side that was honestly abysmal? So.
I'm very excited to have a good fantasy tiger in my side.
You'll be cheering hard, eh?
Yeah, so that's going to be very exciting for me this season. The next lock I think that I've got here at 44% owned, Connor Rosie has done everything that I wanted him to do this preseason. The time on ground last game, the high CBAs, the fact that Butters has kind of stumbled a little bit in the preseason. I think Connor Rosie, we were kind of flopping between the two. I think Rosie has definitely cemented himself as the guy to choose there. So
as much as Butters has gone down in my calculations, Rosie has risen.
He's at a great price, 88 price tag. I think he could probably get close to that 100 mark. And that's going to clearly put you in the top six forwards.
I'd be pretty confident.
I think he can go over 100. So I think that's great value, and he's a lock for me. The rookie is the next guy here. I probably should have put him first because he's got more ownership, but 46%. Harry Sheezel, the Sheezels. He's a lock for me. Whether it's F5 or F6, I think he is going to be the best scoring forward rookie. He just looks class. I think he has played time on the wing, time on half-back, time on forward. No matter where he is, I think he's going to score decently. He probably will score better if he was in half-back or on the wing, but he gets up the ground. I think he looks good in that side. So, and I think his job security is really good as well. So, locking him in.
Job security was the point that I was going to bring up, and I agree there. I think playing at North Melbourne helps that, and he's locked into my side too.
Yeah, that's it. So Harry Sheasel is the lock there. So there's 4 locks already in our forward line, and I've got one more.
Oh.
Errol Goulden.
Mate,
lock.
Mitch had him on the probables list, and he just went bang, bang, bang.
Nah, stuff it. Lock him in, guys.
This has now been called on Twitter. Welcome to the Ball Boys Errol Goulden podcast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're on brand because we've locked him in.
I think we were one of the first guys to be at least super bullish on Errol Goulden. It was on obviously a lot of people's radar.
Yeah.
But we were early to the party. We can claim him as our boy.
Yeah.
Roy was keen on him. I want to give credit to Roy. He was on to him early, but our podcast did come out before theirs. But.
I mean, but like if you listen to Twitter or look at YouTube, there were so many people that were onto him just in secret. Now they've come out.
He was everyone's little secret. Everyone was a little hush.
And then
Don't talk about him.
Screwed that up. So he's a lock at the moment with what he's done. Let's hope that those CBAs stay where they're at, and he'll go and do his thing, I would imagine.
Yeah. So you've got, in my opinion, 5 must-haves in your forward line. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for creativity, which I think is, I don't think that's crazy to say. It seems to have been the narrative for the forwards most of the preseason that you can get a lot of those guys in there. Now, we'll talk about a few of these other guys that also enter a lot of teams, but before we get there, what are your thoughts in terms of having a forward in your midfield? Are you looking to do it at the moment? And if you are, what's your reasoning behind that, and maybe reasons why you don't want to do that?
So at the moment, Dunkley is my M1, so he's in the midfield, and it's purely at the moment. I'm spending a bit of money in the back line. Mm-hmm. And I know what you're doing in the back line is giving you the flexibility to change that, so you don't have to do that. And then the other thing that I've got there is I've got a couple of guys in the forward line that I'm keen to select. So a guy that we're going to talk about in just a second, I've still got him in my team when I know a few other people are jumping off him at the moment. And I'm still keen to select him, but I'm not necessarily keen to select him at... the guy I'm talking about is Toby McLean.
Yeah.
I'm not keen to select him at F5.
It's a bit much
kind
to
of where
pay
that
up.
restructure comes. Could that change? Yes.
To do that, you'd have to downgrade one of your backmen to make that happen.
And that's what I'm currently not wanting to do. So that's my rationale.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's fair enough as well. And I don't think that it's a bad thing to have the forward in there. I think where people... Look, put it this way. I would much rather have, for example, if you're choosing between 2 value options at a similar price tag, and you've got someone like an Errol Goulden and then someone like a... Tom Green or a Chad Warner or some of those types, I'm picking Errol Goulden over those guys because I think they've got comparable upside based on their price, and one of them at the end of the day is going to be a top 6 in their line, and the other one will not be. You'll still need to upgrade them, guys. So I think when the upside is similar, the differentiator that one is going to be a keeper and one is going to be not makes perfect sense to me. So in that instance, if that's where you're deciding, I would 100% all the time go that way. Where I'm different to you is I don't have a Toby McLean in my team anymore. So I'm just trying to get 4 big dogs in my midfield, 4 big dogs in my forward line, going very much more of a guns and rookies in those lines, and just avoiding those mid prices in both of those lines altogether.
So riddle me this: is the forward in the midfield more of a mental thing?
It's just, because you're taking up a spot there. So if you think that there is another option in the midfield that you want, that you think is value, then you're denying yourself the opportunity to do that. So by you having Dunkley there at M1, you might be denying yourself the ability to have a Jack Steele there. You might be denying yourself to have the ability to have maybe both Cogs and Bont. You might have to choose between the one. Or, it's that Cogs kind of a thing. Kelly and Bont. And so... that's a choice, obviously, but if you want both, then I think that's when you've got to move those forward guys into the forward line, and maybe forego someone like a Toby McLean and then just have the 4 guns in there, maybe 2 rookies. Or if you really wanted to have Toby McLean in there, have him at F5 and maybe put someone like a Philippoussis onto your bench.
Nice, I'm glad you're on board.
Yeah, I'm on board. So that's the kind of structure thing that I'm looking at the forwards. I have a strong preference at this stage just because of the way I'm looking at it to keep him in my forward line, but I wouldn't begrudge anyone who, like I said, if I'm choosing between Green and someone like a Goulden, I'm picking Goulden every day of the week because I think he's more of a chance to be a top 6 in his line and a keeper at the end of the day. So let's move on to the rest of the guys that are highly owned. So the next one here is Stephen Coniglio at 24% ownership. He's sort of like that 5th guy in terms of the forward premiums. So if you were taking what we were talking about before, if you wanted to have 5 forward premiums, I think you have to have them in your midfield.
You have to have one of them in your midfield.
I think so. In my opinion, I don't like going 5 premiums and then 1 rookie. It's just batting too deep, in my opinion.
And
you're limiting
value rookies that you then not have.
You value rookies, and then I know it's not something that I always preach, but like say the DPP rolls around round 6, we get ourselves a Christian Petrarca. Maybe we get ourselves a Max Gawn or someone like that, and they're going well and they're doing better than some of these other guys. I do just like to allow myself the flexibility to get one of those guys. Last year, we didn't expect a Bontempelli to be there or a Bailey Smith or a Luke Parker. And those guys were all top. I think this year these are going to be more likely to be the top of their line guys, but I'd rather be doing 4 premiums than 5. It's just my opinion. So Cogs is the one that falls out for me. So for me, he's a pass.
Cogs is a pass for me for all the same reasons that you mentioned. There's just I'm not going to be picking 5, and he for me is the 5th. He's the most expensive as well.
He's the most expensive outside of Dunkley, who's obviously kind of in his own category.
Yeah, I keep saying he's the most expensive. But Dunkley.
But Dunkley, he's a captain option. Cogs, you're not putting the C on him, so it's kind of a different thing you're comparing him to. I think I agree with you there. Next guy here, James. You want to pronounce this one?
Make something up and then we'll get a funny joke out of it.
James Cisidis?
I think it's Cheetos.
Cheetos? Is it actually? How was that saying Cheetos? Tell me what makes the ch sound in that name.
I'm a cultured man.
Okay.
I'm a worldly. No, I'm going to find out. You talk.
Okay, all right. But James Cheetos.
I bet it's nothing like that.
24%. Pass, easy pass for me. He's kind of, we had the Will Gould in the last podcast who was at 17%. This is the guy that has just been sitting in a lot of people's sides for whatever reason. People remember his name from last year, but I don't think he's going to be there round 1. If he is there round 1, he's very likely to be a sub. And last year, I think he played like one game where he played like something ridiculous like 35% from the full game or 50% from the full game because Stewie Doo doesn't like those young guys very much. So for me, James Cheetos, is...
I've literally just made something up. I'm trying to find something, but I absolutely have no idea.
Yeah, okay. But he's an easy pass. So 23% of sides have him. Get him out of your side, guys. Get another rookie onto your team.
I mean, to be fair, I've got guys in there at the moment that are essentially placeholders until we find out the rookie.
Yeah, but I think we're getting close to the season now. It's time
you have to wait till selection. Will Gould, I guess. Teams.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be. We've got a better idea of other guys that are going to make it there.
Yeah, I think so. Some people will be hanging out for a 200k rookie and they're just like,
put Fergus Green in there. Put, we'll talk about these guys later. Sam Sturt, Alwyn Davey, the cyclist. You've got to start to be prepared to have those sort of guys in your team. But for me, James Cheetos. What is it? I've forgotten already. Chibata. He's not going to be there round 1. He's
somebody let us know how to pronounce that name too.
Sorry for butchering it, or if we've offended anyone's culture or something like that by butchering that last name. But I don't think he's going to be there. The next guy, we've alluded to him before, Toby McLean, 23%. Yeah. I'm a pass.
Oh my days! So you're not even a possible now.
I don't think I'm going to go there. I don't think because
that's been a full-on backflip.
He sat in my team for a long time this preseason, and he's a pass for me now just because I've got those 5 locks that we talked about before. And
4 locks.
Or no, 5. Remember, we put Errol Goulden in the locked category for the forwards.
I'm talking about your forward line. You've got 4 of those guys.
Yeah, I've got 4 of those guys, or 5 of those.
Sorry, add
Sheasel in there, and I think I'm going to go a rookie there, just structure-wise. So I think for me... I think that's the way I'm leaning. So for me, I'm going to pass on Toby McLean, which is very surprising. 2 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have said that. I would have said it is at least possible, but I think I'm passing on Toby McLean.
Is there a world where you go to the forward in the midfielder?
The only world that I saw that happening was if Dom Sheed was not going to be there for round one, and just before we started recording this podcast, we saw that he is going to be able to play round one. So with that news in hand, that makes him a pass. But prior to that, he was possible. With that news, now he's a pass because I just don't see the room for that kind of player in my team. So
so Mitch is off maybe for structural reasons. If you were off Toby McLean for the low score on the weekend,
I don't know if that's...
No.
Yeah. He's still upside.
And I think, like, for me, he fits the definition of the kind of guy that he's had a low score. Don't be reactionary there. Like, I would imagine, I'd hope he's going to have reasonable job security at the Bulldogs.
I would think so.
And he's cheaply priced. I don't think just the score on the weekend is enough to get off. So if that was what was making you do it. But if you've got a better option now and you've got structural reasons, then by all means, please go ahead. But if it's just purely a reactionary thing...
So what is he for you? Let me put it this way. He was out of my side before the weekend, before the game. Like, he wasn't in my side. It was purely structure. So the weekend of the game didn't change him. Like, I just to poke my chest out one more time, I did have Errol Goulden in my team before that game, and Toby McLean was out. So, again, not reacting to that one, but it didn't help his cause, in my opinion, and sort of made me feel a bit better about that. Yep. But, that's sort of my reasoning. So is he possible, probable for you? Or
he's currently in the team. I haven't changed much.
Does that make him probable? 50-50.
Yeah, I guess it does. I won't hide behind anything. It probably does still make it probable.
I don't think there's any wrong with him. Like, he's cheap. Like, he's priced at 45 or whatever that is.
Scenario for me, he could be if
I think he can still go 70.
Well, if he comes in the first couple of weeks and it's just obnoxiously bad and stinks it up, it's not hard to fix, is it? You go down and find a rookie.
And you've got some decent rookies in the forward line as well of that sort of just like that, 100k, 120k cheaper. So,
so I think at the moment it's a probable and easily fixed in my opinion.
And the other thing with your team, with your structure, because you have that guy in the midfield, you've got a lot of options that if you wanted to, you could flip him. You've got a bigger range of players that you can move him to. You could go to a Warpool, or you could go to some of those other guys in the midfield as well as the guys in the forward line. So you've got a lot of flexibility there. You could probably even swing DPP enough to get him into the defence if you wanted to. So that is the advantage of having that midfielder or that forward tucked away in your midfield. For guys like that, if they do fail, you can flick them around pretty easy. The next guy here, a bit of a drop-off now from the ownership. So those guys are clearly the most popular guys in the comp. But next guy here at 14% owned is Jason Horne-Francis.
I think it's actually Jason Horne-Francis.
Geez, you're picking up my spelling errors here. So let's correct that one there. 14% owned, I'm a pass. Again, a lot of these guys are going to be structure dependent for me. You've just got, like we said at the top, there's so many locks in this line. I'm not messing around with a guy like this. Any other year, perhaps he's a guy that comes in your calculations. But I still think he's going to be pretty up and down. He's going to be pretty consistent for me. But he's getting more CBAs than I thought he would at this stage.
Yeah, I still think he's going to go more than what he's priced at. But like you said, we've got so many good options, and for me, he just doesn't present enough really, really obvious value to be a guy that you can't miss out on.
Yep. So I'm going to group these next two options, Josh Sin and Jacob Van Ruin, 13 and 12% owned respectively. I think both of them are pretty easy passes for me. I don't expect them to be there round one. Both of them, I think probably more Van Ruin is not going to be a good scorer anyway. So even if he was named, I don't think I'd want to go there if I can find another option. And I think Josh Sin is actually injured at the moment, so I don't think he's going to be available for round one. So for me, again, pretty similar story to the Cheetos earlier. Find a better rookie bench option there, guys. It's time to start thinking about other options if you've got them there as placeholders. So you passing on both these guys?
Yeah, nothing more to be said on those guys, I don't think.
Bailey Humphrey.
Humphrey B-Bear.
Yeah, he's a guy...
B-Bear? Did you...
Yeah, the kid show, right?
Yeah, the guy with the one with the hat.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was a unique thing that I only watched.
No, I think I watched it too, mate.
Sorry, I thought it was a pod.
A pod, a point of difference. So next one.
Thanks for spelling that out.
I thought you meant like a podcast.
No.
Anyway, all right, let's get away from Humphrey B. Bear. But Bailey Humphrey, the football player, he's someone that I was considering, but he didn't play on the weekend. I was trying to figure out why he didn't play, and I can't find anything as to why he wasn't there. Maybe he's just out of favour and not close to the 22. But he looked good in that first practice match. had a friendly-ish role. He's someone that if he and Philippou were named together, I don't know which way I would go, because I think Philippou probably scores better as he's got better numbers as a junior, but his role doesn't look as friendly as a Humphrey. But right now, because he didn't play on the weekend, I'm just going to say possible, more trending towards unlikely, but there is a chance that, again, depending on the rookies being there, he's a guy that I could see, as a decent option if he is named. What are your thoughts on Humphrey B-Bear? And Bailey Humphrey?
Yeah, similar thoughts to you, to be honest, Mitch, in terms of... I feel like in terms of those kind of rookie price guys, we're saying all the same things, aren't we? It's very much, it's like, will he be there? If he is he going to get a friendly role? What do we think of job security? So I kind of share similar thoughts on him.
Sam Sturt is a guy that, might be firming up to be a bolter to get into that round one Freo team.
Yeah, looks solid by all reports.
He's on my bench at the moment. So I think, again, compared to a few other rookie-priced guys, a lot of them are sort of those sort of pressure forwards, those forward pocket sort of types. He looks like he could at least be, potentially, if he's in the team, getting up the ground. So he's sort of, if named, one of the higher priorities in terms of those 200k guys on my bench. So he's a probable for me.
Same, probable for me.
All right. Talk about this guy here. I've just popped him in here because he's the next highest owned premium.
Talk quietly, but because if you say what I expect you to say, Ellie could be beating that door down.
I should be rushing in here, but Dusty Martin, what are you doing here? Pass. Yeah, not in my side.
Let's go non-verbals so that we can't be hurt.
Well,
Ellie's a big Dusty Martin fan.
Big Dusty fan. I think she's more of a fan of his Bonds ads than anything. But I think not. I think he's just kind of those guys. He's a name. People go, oh yeah, I remember that guy. He ran a Brownlow.
I remember that guy.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't there much last season. I'll tell you that much. Hopefully, he's here more this year. But pass for me. Yep. Tanner Bruin. For some reason, I thought he might be a bit higher owned, but 5%. There's been a lot of talk about him recently.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. You think that because looking at Twitter, you think he's a world
talk of the town. But 5%. I agree that he should be lowly owned, and I'm not going there. I'm passing on all Geelong players to start the season, unless they're 200k. I'm just not keen on a Tara Bruin.
And there's none of those either.
Yeah, exactly. So, not keen on that. Again, Nathan...
Pass for me as well, but obviously if there are people out there that disagree, let us know why.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking to learn some new things.
Yeah, obviously there are people that are keen on him. Some people who I respect their opinions, other podcasts and stuff like that, do think that he's a decent option. So it could turn out to be a great option, but I'm just personally passing based on structure more than anything as well. Again, similar kind of thing to Dusty. Nathan Fife is there at 5%. Again, bit of a name. So I'm passing there.
Yep.
Maybe a few super coaches coming over thinking that he's cheaper than he actually is. Because he's an option in that format, but based on the AFL Fantasy pricing mechanism, he's too expensive. So
maybe a draft option?
Yeah, maybe a draft option, later. Just potentially if he gets sort of that mid-clock. But, he's been playing as a forward, looking okay as a forward and looking healthy, which is good for Fife. But, classic. No, thank you. Shea Bolton, our boy, got decent midfield clock when he came back in. I've always kind of thought that he could eventually be a good fantasy option, but...
Not at the Tigers.
Not at the Tigers at the moment, and not with the additions that they've had with Hopper and Taranto. He's just not that accumulator.
He's the kind of guy that you watch a game of football and you go... That guy was easily best on ground, and then you have a look at his fantasy
21 touches or something like 80. That. Yeah, he's just
he took 3 hangers, he kicked 4 goals, he looked like he was everywhere, and then you look at 80, and that's just. From a footy perspective, he wouldn't care.
Yeah, no, he doesn't care. He's a gun. I love him, but just probably not ever going to be. I think that big time fantasy stat accumulator. Yeah. He's more of an impact kind of a player. Pass on Shea. Yeah. Asava Radagalia is an interesting one. I could have put him in the Rucks thing as well, but also potentially maybe someone that we put at a D5, D6, F5, F6. I am a pass. He's in my Supercoach team. But he's a lot cheaper in that format. So maybe, again, the people coming from that format looking at Radagalia. Look, there is a world where he is a decent pick, but I'm passing just based on structure. What are your thoughts?
Same for me. I share that sentiment. I don't want to talk too much about these guys where Mitch and I just share a similar opinion. Same for me.
All right, well, let's rush through these last couple of rookies. Noah Long, Cade Chandler. At the moment, I have Cade Chandler in my side, but I don't love it.
didn't he? As a bench option if he could be sold, but then he's also a little bit of a victim of the team he plays for as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I was looking at his scores. He played a couple of games last year. I just want to look up his scores right now because they were pretty stinky, and I want to remember if a lot of them were sub-affected games. His average here, I've actually looked it up, it's 6.2 based on 3 games. He had a 14, he had a 5, and a 6 in his 3 games last year.
He must be mates with Warple.
All of them, he was the activated sub. So, again, hopefully he's locked into their side. But again, if I've got a few options on my bench of 200k guys, he is the first to go. So I think I'd rather the cyclist than a player like him.
Can you imagine the cash generation, but...
Yeah, well, if you're averaging 6 points a game, you could probably go backwards if anything.
No one's priced on 200k and he actually goes
except
down.
for him. Somehow beats the system, though. So, Cade Chandler, he might be there round 1, but if you can go anywhere else, I would recommend it. But right now, he's sitting on my team. So.
4k played a lot on the weekend.
Yeah. Noah Long, I think he might be an outside chance to make round 1, so I'm passing. But again, if he's there...
That's why I'm going to put him in the possibles.
Yeah, he's in the possible, so... Yeah. Zach Butters, he's actually, I'm surprised he's below a few of these other guys at 4%, but...
Has he become a pass for you?
He's a pass. Yeah, he was probably possible a few weeks ago, maybe even probable at some point in the preseason, but with the injury, the AC soreness, limited CBAs on the weekend.
It looked to me like Port sort of made their intentions known, and the fact that he's already somewhat injured is just, it's not great for Zach.
Not great. My boy Dylan Moore, 4%.
Do you want some tissues?
Yeah, he's a pass. Yeah. He's a pass.
Tears.
They were probably tissues for other reasons earlier on in the preseason.
It's some lotion.
It's some lotion. But now they're tissues of tears now.
It's a slippery slope. It really is. I feel for you, mate. But, I was your biggest hype boy.
Look, we still love him. And we're watching him still. If he ever gets a role change or something like that in the season somewhat.
That's the thing. He hasn't become a crap player.
No, he's not a crap player. He's still a gun, but the role. Yeah, it's the role and also the Errol Goulden effect. We've moved on pretty quick. So let's go on to the second last guy, Ben Cunningham, who did impress me in his game, and the fact that he was second highest in CBAs. I think that there is a world where he is a really good pick. So
he's a victim of
it's the structure
again.
Let me say this: he's more possible than a Toby McLean to me. So
there's a bit of a price difference there, isn't there?
There is a bit of a price difference. So I'm going to give myself the 1% chance that he's there, and I'm going to label him possible on my side.
There's a huge price difference.
Yeah, look, he's
so there's a chance that
he's closer to like a Goulden than a McLean, but
so then if there's a 1%, it's a 1% chance. But I'll humour you. So if you start with 4 of those guys that we consider as locks, there's a chance you start with Cunningham at F5.
F5, yeah. That would be the opportunity if I maybe don't go with a Philippoussis or something like that that I do, which actually, remind me, I don't think we've mentioned him here. We might have to go back to the top. But yeah, I think that he is, look, it's very low. It's very low, but I just wanted to highlight that if you were going something a little bit different, I'd rather be going like a Ben Cunningham than someone like a Jason Horne-Francis. Yeah. I'd rather be going him than someone like a Tanner Bruhn. I'd rather go him instead of like a Zach Butters or a Dylan Moore. He would be the only guy that I would vaguely even entertain the thought of having in my side.
Okay.
Pass for you?
He hasn't really done much training with the boys, so it would be out of the box.
Yeah, okay. And the last guy here, and we'll probably go back up to Philippoussis, but Wayne Miller at 2%.
The Mosquito.
Yeah. Didn't play in the last Pracky match. Pass for me. Maybe... Yeah, no, pass for me. Look, I nearly did it. Like, just comparing him to Toby McLean, the role for him looked... Well, on the game we saw prior to this weekend that he didn't play, looked better than a Toby McLean. But I just think that he's never gone over 75, and Dawson is now in that team. So I'm still going to say pass. I won't even give myself that 1%.
Yeah, don't do it. Pass for me. Yeah. There's scar tissue there. Yeah. Still healing
from last year. And I will just throw back, because we didn't talk about him. He's very popular. But not Mark Philippoussis, Mateus Philippou. I'm going to start to that name. Mateus Philippou in 46% of teams. So
Jeez, we really left him out. He should have been top dog. Yeah, he's
some people are cooling on him based on the role. I still think
job security is going to be pretty good in that St Kilda forward line.
I still feel pretty good about having him on my side, and in my starting squad on my ground. So, look, I think that maybe he's clearly going to be behind like a Sheasel, but I still think he's going to be scoring decent enough to have as your sort of sixth rookie or your sixth player on your forward line. So
of all the guys that we spoke about that we didn't put in the lock list, he's the guy that's been in my side the whole time. I'm having him there, and I think his job security will be reasonably good, especially based on those little glimpses that he showed. When you're picking rookies, you're picking them for those little glimpses, and job security is a big thing for our rookies. So
he's him. Probable for me. So I
just want to say his name.
Yeah, Mark Philippoussis, Mateus Philippoussis. But he looks good to me, so I think that the talent will shine out and overcome maybe a less than optimal role. He might be one of the first rookies that we look to upgrade, much like a Josh Rochelle. Last year I made the mistake of not going with a Rochelle because I wasn't a fan of his role. I tried to save a bit of coin. I think that came back to bite me in the bum a bit, so I'm sort of trying to correct my mistake from last year. That's kind of a bit of learnings from me last year, and just go with those guys where the talent is there, and just sort of back that in. So that will do it for our forwards. Next podcast, I think we're going to go through our midfield, which is going to be very, very diverse. There's obviously a lot more locks in these defenders and forwards, a lot more popular picks. In the midfield, there's a very, very big spread of players over there. So
definitely excited to talk middies.
Yeah, stay tuned for that one. I think it's going to be where sides are going to be very different and where you're going to separate yourself come the start of the season. So, guys, thank you again for tuning along. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're getting up there. We might not make the 1,000 subscribers by the time the season starts, but we're still trying to get there, guys. So if you haven't already and you haven't been enjoying the preseason content, make sure you hit subscribe button. We'll be doing some content come the start of the season, probably a couple of podcasts per week. So stay tuned for that. So give yourself a jump on, subscribe, give yourself another podcast to listen to.
Yeah, and just quickly on that quest for 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much to all the people who have already supported us. I think we're trying to say it as frequently as possible, but it's awesome to have so many people on board.
Blown away.
And enjoying the content, hopefully. Let us know if you disagree with us, but let us know if you're having a good time listening as well. We really appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate all you guys and all you guys that have listened along the way. And again, we'll see you guys next time when we're talking midfielders. Bye.